last time in Final Fantasy XIV and the Scaith. Great.
Such pervasive light. It does steal into the darkest corners and chase away my shadow.
And thus the Shadow Queen falls. I commend you on your victory. Yes, such skill and strength are deserving of a more fitting stage. Come, mortals. A true master of shadow awaiteth you.
And now? Behind us is our treasure.
Shall begin. The dominion of your precious skies be decided here and now. You expect back the creature I was before, enfeebled by confinement? Ha! Face me now in the fullness of my power!
Oh, actually stunned Diabolos out of it. That works.
Once I first open the gate of a void, the night hounds levels the scent of your fear.
Clear the gates. Before they summon something. I thought I was looking away, but apparently not.
Not even eternal sleep, for you will free from the terror of my weaving.
Winner's Omen, I remember this, but this time there's no way to avoid it.
Tiresome battle has dragged on overlong. Enough! The energy of the Nether will be mine. I will bathe in primordial darkness.
Life gate. Hit the life gate. This is a pure damage check now. A beam battle.
Now before the shrinking majesty of the void. What have you done? You seek to wrest from me the control of the portal? So here, a contest of strength then. A contest you have no hope of winning. I'm the Lord of the Void, you cannot... My imprisonment weakened me more than I imagined. But you have not bested me yet. Witness now my true purpose for seeking the Queen's rebirth.
He absorbs her.
Yes, the glory, the infinite world of shadow. I have reached Scaith's unholy vessel and released her power unto me. Shadow itself shall be my armor. Come strike your feeble blows in vain.
That was Scaith's attack. Such defenses will be difficult to pierce, but might not his boasts. A persistent assault will prevail. That's right. What Diabolos has here is temporary hit points. You need to beat through until you can actually see how much damage it's done to him. See? Oh, I went into the diabolical gate.
From the depths of Shadow's well shall rise your ruination.
Oh, omen.
Must I entreat the very spectre of death to be rid of you? I cannot. I will wager all of me distraction.
Well. Our tanks are dying hard. Not dead yet. They were bats. He did not just fade away. The Nullstone. Do not relax your guard yet, Serenia. The air is still heavy with his foul presence. Already taken care of a fiend, have you? And you didn't even need the dusty old relic to do it. Be careful, Captain. Diabolos yet lurks in the shadows. Kashi?
Finally have I claimed the Shadow Queen's power for my own, yet still I'm harried by you noisome weevils. I must needs quit this realm for a time. I have grown accustomed to my newfound might. There shall be a reckoning for your insolence.
This ain't the time for napping, Furball. You still got a job to do. And you dropped the Nullstone. My work here is unfinished. In Cesar's name, I unmake the Diabolos. My master's will be done.
Centuries have I yearned for this power. Thou canst not unmake me. No, no.
Ship is burning. That thing is ruined. I should have known we were wasting our breath. The captain only heeds the siren in his heart, and damn the consequences. Told you you'd be lost without me, didn't I? Look at you, Puss, getting knocked out cold in your moment of glory. You went like to get another chance to honor your master's memory, and you almost missed it. But I suppose you pulled through at the last. I'll give you that much. Spare me your concern and your lectures. You all knew I wasn't like to stay at bed with such a grand adventure in the making, and I'd rather break every bone in my body than to be stripped of the freedom to go where I please. Besides, all's well that ends well, eh? Diabolos is dead and we're all alive. That counts as a victory in my book. Just a pity it cost me the mail in the doing of it. I hope she rests easy on that island refuge. How vexing to once again be rescued by Red Bill. He'd better recover from those injuries, so we can go back to hating each other on an equal footing. Well, I think you live, which is surprising considering he crashed his ship into a bloody demon. Damn fool. The plan was a resounding success, or did require some intervention on Leofard's part. I'm afraid I misjudged his commitment to our cause. Me goggles are a mess, but I can always get me a new pair of goggles. And a new airship. I suppose we should be glad we didn't lose all else after diving headlong into a voidsent nest. Now that we've taken the skies back, it's time we're taking our leave. The talents of the Red Bills can kiss this brief alliance farewell. Unless, of course, you're interested in a more permanent arrangement. Your bootlickers might think your voice is siren song, but it grates on me ears like a harpy screech. No, this is the first and last time we fly together. We're back to being rivals, the way it's always been. You're a very stubborn man, Red Bill, but you do well to remember, I always get what I want in the end. Head back to me quarters and see to the furball sorts. I'll be along in a bit. I feel so foolish, Serenia. I demanded that Leofard remain behind, only to have him rescue my mission from certain failure. A failure that would have made mock of your heroic efforts as well. You're too kind. What words exist that can properly express my contrition? I know not how to even begin making my apologies. I should like to approach the captain, but he has the air of a man who seeks solitude. 'Tis strange to see him so melancholy. Could it be the loss of a meal which troubles him so? Nay, I shan't intrude upon his contemplation with clumsy questions and trite platitudes. Let us leave him be for the moment. I heard the Marine was an unsalvageable wreck. She was a fine vessel built to endure the captain's reckless flying style. It seems she kept him safe until the very end. Such a shame. Captain not his usual bombastic self. Perhaps Stacia can enlighten us to the source of his uncharacteristic malaise. Mistress Stacia, if I might ask you a question, do you know the cause for the Captain's melancholy? Is it because of a meal? Pray tell me if it is so. I cannot help but feel responsible for our vessel's destruction. It would better understand Leofard's present distress. If you really want to understand, I suppose I should start with how the Captain was orphaned as a child. As matters turned out, he was taken in by a high-born widow who raised him as her son. From what Leofard has told me, his adoptive mother was a kind, quiet-spoken woman, but due to some illness or other, she was rarely able to venture outside. Instead, she spent hours reading to her boy from a library well stocked with books from faraway lands. Leofard cared for her as her malady grew worse by the day, and he was there by her side when death finally carried her away to Fal's halls. While she was alive, she never did ask much of him. Not long before she passed on, however, she wrung from him one single promise: that he escape with conformity she had always endured, and live his life as free as a bird. As you've likely guessed, her name was Ramiel. That's her portrait there, hanging on the wall. Ah, this explains much. I had wondered as to the origin of his vessel's naming. The Sky Pirate Way is the life Leofard chose for himself, but I like to think he named his ship the Ramiel so that his mother would be there to watch over all of his adventures. Since when were you so loose-lipped about a comrade's private past, Stacia? Huh? I ain't in the habit of leaning on people's sympathies, so you can all keep that tidbit to yourself, eh? And I've thought I told you to see to the Furball's wounds. Look at your cape, puss. It's in tatters. Come here for a moment. A scarf? For me? Aye, that's a little present we give to every new Red Bill. Ramiel taught me that it's not protecting memories that's important. It's having the strength to follow your path and make those memories in the first place. Seeing how determined you were to clean your master's slate, I'd say you'd fit right in with our crew. Listen, if you're thinking that that little airship meant a lot to me, then you'd be right. But I'd rather mourn a hunk of metal than lose them as can share in me highs and lows. So let's get this straight, puss. There's no need for apologies. A Sky Pirate makes his choice and he sticks by it. The life of a Sky Pirate, As I seem to be bereft of both place and purpose now, I suppose I shall accept your offer. I'm yours to command, Captain. Glad to hear it. Your first duty is to join us in giving our adventurer here a proper send-off. Well, it's about bloody time you two saw eye to eye. But honestly, Captain, you don't mean to head out in those rags, do you? Let's get you cleaned up as well before we say our fond farewells. Did you see? XIV is wearing a Red Bill scarf. Isn't that just wonderful? For 15 centuries did I wander in the dark alone. To be surrounded by companions and given a new hearth to call home fills me with a warmth I had almost forgotten was possible. Yes, we have a spare airship the captain can use for now until he feels ready to build a new one. It's time we parted ways, Serenia. Let's give you an escort down to Coldwind. That was some adventure, Serenia, but our journey into the unknown is over. For the now. When the sky spit out some new mystery, you can bet that I'm coming to find you. After all, there ain't nobody else who handles the unexpected quite like you do. High adventure and the heady rush of danger. Surely in this life there's no greater reward. Now, I remember that for this quest you also got a Red Bill scarf for yourself as, well, a glamour item. Anyway, yeah, as I want to say, unidentified flying object here is this quest, which unfortunately didn't count because I did this in New Game Plus mode. It's a weekly quest you do done Scaith for, and then get Proto Ultima Heat Shielding, and you can get then here exchange those against accessories or the Proto Ultima Mesh, which is not a great armor, but I like the look really. Okay, but that shall be it for the Shadow of Mhach run. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I am Ace, and don't get lost.